Welcome, everyone. I'm very excited and a little bit nervous to do this. Is the very first open inward conversation, and today we have a beautiful guest, and her name is Monica. And I wanted to honor Monica for her incredible journey that she's been on. She's an incredibly brave soul. I don't think I've ever met a braver soul than Monica. And we're also honoring Pride Month. And Monica identifies as a she, her, and she is a beautiful, rare human being. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. And her gender equality journey has been one victory after another. And by no means has this been a walk in the park, but we focus on the victories. And internally and externally, and it's colored her entire life. And Monica is this exquisite, rare human being, and her gender is her gender identification is like this fluid, moving target. And maybe someone else can relate to this and will find this conversation intriguing and comforting and maybe even healing, because Monica has been on one heck of a healing journey. And so sometimes Monica feels in her gender identification in the moment liberated and compelled to sort of express her feminine side. And at other times she's like right smack in the middle, very neutral. And sometimes that's confusing for her and even others who know her. They're like, who are you today? And so, but also Monica also has a very strong yang, masculine side that can show up. And she's great when you need to do painting and gardening. And so Monica's also a dear friend of mine. So, just trying to fit into a world that hasn't fully accepted the likes of Monica and folks like Monica. I've been honored to witness Monica in the miracle of this experiential journey from feminine to masculine and the subtle variances in between. So I just want to stop talking about Monica and bring her onto camera. So I'm going to change our view. And we're going to go right into gallery mode. Welcome, Monica. Thank you for coming. You're so brave.
Thank you, Lorianne. It's lovely to be here.
Well, my hope is that today that somebody feels that they've been seen and heard, and they're inspired by your story, because it is an incredible story. So let's try to unpack it and weave it in through your experience with Open Inward Journey Portraits. So I see the whole journey as like the hero's journey. And so approaching the threshold of your hero's journey in front of a camera, tell me something and go with your first thoughts. What was it that motivated you to want to commit to going on this kind of a portrait journey? What are your first thoughts?
I wanted to connect to myself on that deep level that I knew I could go to with you. There was a part of me that needed so much to connect to that level, that deep level inside of me, where I could let go and bring in. It was this whole letting go and bringing in stuff that really motivated me to do this.
So you said something at the very beginning, which I understand, but someone listening might not understand. And so, the nature of the invitation. So how did you know you could do this? What allowed you to feel that knowing that you could do this? It's like, I'm going to go jump out of a plane. You did that. Like, like what switch gets triggered in you? Because it has nothing to do with me or all the work we've done together. There's a switch that goes.
Well, I mean, first thought it was and this may sound kind of extreme, but it was almost like a life or death thing for me. Like, if I don't do this, my life is over, right? I need to connect to this part of me and go deep in order to come out the other side.
Wow.
It was just, yeah, it was something that I had to do.
Just listening to you saying that and listening to yourself saying that, like, that's a big connection with yourself that you just can't ignore. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's monumental. So let me ask you another question in the same vein. How would you describe what you were yearning for?
I mean, similar to what I said before, I was yearning so badly for that self-connection with myself, but more importantly, really finding myself. Really, really needed to find myself because I felt so lost. And I was trying so hard to identify who and what and why am I supposed to be the way I am, right? So there was such a yearning to really zone in on those parts of me and just allow it to really come instead of forcing it.
What does forcing it feel like?
Oh, it's yucky and muddy and it doesn't feel, there's nothing nice about forcing it. It's not, I wanted it to come into me in a, I don't even know how to describe it.
Just go into your heart.
The forcing felt like I was trying to conform.
Enough already, hey?
Yeah.
So tell me, what does it feel like to surrender to who you really are?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it makes me just feel so much like my joy meter goes off the charts when I come into that place.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful medicine. Wow. Okay, let's just take a breather. So preparations. So I wanted to kind of bring you back to when you first said, I want to do this. And then it's like, okay, you don't just show up, right? There's preparation, there's proper process, there's a due process. So the pre-shoot consultation and the wardrobe consultation and even the pre-shoot intuitive coaching session. Tell me about your experience of that. What are your first thoughts around all of that?
Well, I mean, my first thought is just like, it's such an important and beautiful part of the process, right? Because you allow that like everything that's in my head, you give it the space to really grow and turn. Like I come to you and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do, right? And then or how I want to show up, and together we created this beautiful story, you know, that would then unfold even further.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes, we co-created this together, but I want to honor you and say that you had a dream.
I did.
You had a dream of how you wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
And that was the underlying motive. And the rest was really a beautiful, co-creative, vulnerable, kind of crazy, back and forth, what do you think of these suspenders? And and I'm like, oh, we have to do this, and then we've got, so it was this beautiful, creative, co-creative. I love that. And I feel like for you, it opened you up to more possibilities, and me. I love that process. Do you have anything else you want to add to that, about how that made you feel to enter that creative space with another human, just focused on you and your dream of how you want to be seen, even though you don't really know how yet?
For me, it was even coming to the point where we were even discussing what I wanted to do was huge for me, because I've never been seen in that way. So taking it from, something that was in my head and creating it, and then doing it. It was just such a I'm at a loss of words right now.
Just go back there. Go back to the Trent with your feet in that water. Actually, let me bring up an image.
Okay.
Let's bring up an image. Let's take this to the next level. Okay. Here you are. And it's quite early. It's pre-dawn. I've lightened it so it looks like it's later, but it's early in the morning. What's happening for you right here and now?
This was all about me connecting to the parts of me that I just needed to let go and release. The parts that hurt, the parts that didn't hurt, everything in between, just the parts that I knew were holding me back from emerging into something really beautiful. It was raw and beautiful at the same time.
It was incredible witnessing you. I mean, creating this safe container isn't something I can do alone. It is another co-creative part of this process where we create it together. You trust me, I trust you. I make it safe for you by just being in that place of non-judgment. You make it safe for you by being in non-judgment. Look at this. Like, look at her. Yeah. How does it feel to see her now? What are you feeling?
Well, I can feel her, and it's still so powerful, because there was so much that I needed to release that day, for myself. So much judgment and shame and everything to do with who and what I am.
Wow. Let's see. Let's pull another one up. This one is really speaking to what you're talking about right now, with this yoke of wildflowers around your shoulders. What do you feel when you look at this image?
this is where I let go. I completely let go.
You sure did. What does it feel like to let go?
It is the most freeing and liberating thing you will ever feel in your life. Because it's like you were 1,000 pounds heavy before, and now you're like 1 pound. It's not like your essence is just so free.
Yeah. And it's undulating. You know, it's an undulating journey, because you know you're releasing, and then more pain comes up into your pain body, and then you're feeling it, being with it, and then letting it go again, and you've got this sun rising behind you. I mean, it's incredible, just an incredible journey. And this was just where we started in the morning. How are you feeling?
And revisiting that day, doesn't matter how many times I revisit it. It was such an extraordinary experience.
Yeah.
And I feel something a little bit different every time, but every time I watch it, even now, I feel like there's little fragments that I still let go.
Yeah. And that's a wrap of the first episode with Monica of Open Inward Conversations. I hope you enjoyed this first segment and really felt Monica's bravery, her strength, her sincerity, her authenticity. I invite all LGBTQ plus communities to celebrate Pride Month. Not that I think you need any encouragement. Really, I want to encourage everyone to celebrate Pride Month. Let's go the next step, and let's go celebrate not just gender identity, but color, race, creed, all the things that make us different, all the things that make us unique, a unique expression of light, of love, of gifts. We are the rainbow. We all make this rainbow. We all make this planet this amazing place, and we all arrive with challenges and gifts and soul urges to figure out why we're here, what is our purpose. And this is what intuitive coaching is all about. And maybe it's the X factor that you're looking for, whether it is through one-on-one intuitive coaching, or it is through an intuitive journey portrait. So if you're even a little bit curious, I would love you to book a discovery call, and we can have a chat and see if it's a good fit for you. And if it isn't, so be it. And if it is, let's go to town. So thank you for watching today, and I just invite you to tune in again on Friday for the second episode with Monica, as we reveal more of her immersive experience, her bravery, and her strength. And I hope that you found this episode today inspiring to just connect into yourself and become curious about these things that are always present in us at a deep level, waiting for us to connect to and explore. All right. Have a good day. Bye. See you Friday.